wonderful. You guys respond. All right. So to start today, I would just like to start with a prayer because we are in the Lord's house, and there's no better way to start anything than giving it to God. So let's fold our hands and pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much for giving us this blessing and opportunity to be here today. Please help me so that I may speak from my heart today, and so that all of us here will be able to gain a deeper appreciation and understanding for the work that you do on a more global level. Amen. All right, to start today, I would like if you guys could please close your eyes, and we're going to take a deep breath. Keep your eyes closed. And I'm going to talk you through a scenario. I want you to put yourself in this scenario. I want you to put yourself in this person's shoes and try to feel everything that this person could be feeling at this moment in time. All right. It's a dark, stormy, gloomy, mid-afternoon. This person is walking. They're cold, they're scared, they're alone. They have no family, and they don't have any friends. Well, they might have some friends, but they're so introverted that they really honestly haven't made very many friends at this point. This person is kind. They like to help people around them. But the problem is, at this point in time, it's so cold that we're in a polar vortex. That means that the temperatures are getting down to, negative 70 degrees. So cold that if you are outside for more than 5 minutes, your lungs could freeze. You instantly walk out the door, and the little parts of your eyelashes at the top start forming droplets of ice, like water from your eyes. It starts forming ice on your eyelashes. You have ice in your nose where your nose hairs are. Everything is so cold, and you are not prepared for it. You don't have adequate winter wear on. You do have boots, and you do have a down coat, but that is not enough for negative 70-degree weather. But besides the weather, you try to be a little bit of a light in these people's day because it's so gloomy. Might have had some pants on, maybe like leggings, super long brownish hair, and definitely not the person now that they were then. All right, open your eyes. The person you're looking at, the person that you just thought about, the person that you just empathized with, that would be me. That's my story. At age 14, I moved away to Wisconsin, Watertown, Wisconsin, to go to Lutheran Preparatory School for high school. And when I went out there, I knew no one. I didn't have family out there, and I, quite frankly, didn't have any friends. And I was quite the introvert, believe it or not. So that meant that I truly didn't have a lot of friends for probably more than 6 months. So I was alone, and I was cold, and I had never experienced anything like the coldness of this polar vortex. It was so scary. But this is my story. And so today I'm going to continue to tell you about my story at Luther Prep for high school, and my story about where I'm at now. Currently, I attend Martin Luther College in New Ulm, Minnesota. And both of these schools are through our synod, which is the Wells. And the college that I'm at trains pastors and teachers for the ministry. And the high school that I was at encourages people to go into the ministry and also provides a lot of other wonderful things. So today I'm going to be talking about my story, but I want you to remember that this isn't my story in the way that I'm doing these things or that I'm choosing these things, but rather that God is leading me and that God is growing in me and making me better. And these schools have helped me to get there and continue to help me thrive in this way. So today I'm sharing my story, but I also know that each and every one of you have your own stories and that God has led you in your life in all kinds of different ways. And it's such a blessing. And I hope that after this you can reflect back on your own life and see how God has worked in it. All right, so some of my wonderful opportunities that I've had at Luther Prep. I have lots of pictures up on the slides, so I'm sorry that they're really small, but I couldn't choose. I had like 100, and they were all great, so. But some of the opportunities that you form lifelong friendships with all kinds of different people. People from all over the world. I had a friend in high school. He was from Zambia, Africa. I had a friend from South Korea. Lots of different people, people from Germany, people from all over, but also people from all over the United States. I would say that pretty much all of my friends don't live in the state of Nevada. Most of them live outside of the state of Nevada, where I currently live. Lifelong friendships that last totally outside of high school. Currently, my roommate from high school attends Wisconsin Lutheran College, which is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But we still make time every single weekend to talk to one another because we're that important to each other. They have an outstanding academic education there. So that includes things even from your very first class, freshman year. So 7:30 in the morning, freshman me walks into Latin. Yeah, I had no idea what I was in for, but I was in for a hoot, that's for sure. So this outstanding academic education includes Latin that you have to take your freshman year, choir, music theory, piano, all of your normal subjects, just like science, history, math, reading, literature, and all kinds of other things. I had art classes. I had all kinds of classes that I never thought in a million years that I'd have the opportunity to take, but I took them, and all of them helped to grow me to be the person that I am now. I was involved in theater, actually heavily involved in theater. My sophomore year is when I made my first production, and after that I was in 9 consecutive theater performances at Luther Prep. I was in 3 fall plays, 3 musicals, and 3 children's theaters. And to be honest, that took up most of my time and most of my heart. Outside of God. God took up most of my heart, but theater was kind of the thing that got me through high school. I made a lot of friends, and I honestly started to become a lot more extroverted because I had to learn to speak in front of people and be comfortable with it and act in front of them, and it was so much fun. I had prep singers. That was something I did my senior year. That is when we traveled around to different churches all over the area in Wisconsin, and we sang every Sunday morning for them, sometimes more than one service. And it was such a blessing to be able to sing for God and for those people and just serve the Lord in that way, which is why it always brings me joy when I have the opportunity to sing here when I'm home. I was able to tutor my senior year of high school. I got to mentor and encourage young girls at my school, and that is just such a blessing, and I still do that today. I write a lot of letters to different people to mentor them and help them through different stages of life that they're in. I ran on cross country for all 4 years. Never thought I would do that. That's a little crazy. And I would be honest, I'm not the best runner in the world. I'm actually a horrible runner. My place on the team is to be encouragement and support. Yeah, but I still run cross country actually to this day in college. So this next season, I'll be starting my 6th season of cross country. And no, I'm not any better than my freshman year of high school. I also ran track my freshman year of high school, and I started my sophomore year, but then we got sent home for COVID, so I never finished my sophomore year track season, but I did finish freshman year. It was fun. I don't know if I'd do it again. Good opportunity, though. We had this thing called Project Timothy, and this is an opportunity and an experience. You put in an application, and the school chooses you and sends you anywhere, well, I guess around the world too, but anywhere in the country, and you go and you serve at a church. So last summer, I went and I served down in Tampa, Florida, and I taught a VBS, which actually happened to be the same VBS that we taught here last year, which was really awesome because I already knew the material really well, so I could help engage the students better. And then last but not least, certainly not least, dance team was a huge part of my education and my time at prep. That was during the winter season, basketball season, and I had so much fun doing that. I learned a lot of different things. I've danced ever since I was 2, so for 17 years. But dance team is like its own genre of dance. I don't know if you guys know that, but it's quite fun, actually. And that actually plays a very important role later, so keep that in mind. Some of the blessings, like I already said, I touched on the fact that it's a terrific education, but more importantly, you're surrounded by Christ. You go to chapel twice every single day. You go in the morning in the middle of your school day, which for me is the best thing ever. When you know that you have a test that didn't go well in the morning or isn't going to go well, it's the perfect time to go get some peace from the Lord. And then also at night. I don't know, I think it's around like 9:30-ish that we have night chapel, and so it's the perfect way to end the evening, surrendering your day to the Lord. You're unified by faith, so everyone on campus, your professors and your friends, everyone shares the same faith as you, which is such a blessing. And you're grounded in God's Word. You are required to take a religion class every single year of your time at Luther Prep, and those religion classes, I will not lie, my freshman year, it was very challenging. I did not know many of those things, and I didn't really know what I was doing. However, I overcame that, and I'm better for it now because I had to work extra hard to learn those Bible stories that I may not have known before. And then you're growing up together in the Lord. So the people that you're at school with, you're 13, 14, 15 years old, and you go through some huge developmental changes at that time in your life. You're going through just a lot of finding who you are, figuring out what you want to do when you graduate, just even learning how to live on your own, be in the dorm, eat food, not always have to go to the bathroom with another person. It's a very interesting experience, but in the end, you're all unified by Christ, and you're in the Lord, and you're growing up through that together. And that makes those bonds that you have extra special. All right, so prep helped to shape me to be more faithful and loving, a confident person, someone who's willing to stand up in front of other people and talk like I am doing today, which I would not have been able to do if I was still a freshman in high school. A lot more extroverted. I'm happy, and I'm comfortable and content with the life that the Lord has blessed me with, because I know that no matter what happens, His plan is better than my plan, and I don't have to be concerned about anything that's happening, good or bad, because I know that it's God's plan for my life. And there's no better or more peaceful way to live than just knowing that your life is for Christ. And so that alone has made me to be an excited, happy, bubbly person all the time. So prep has prepared me for so many things, as I've already touched on, just life in general, how to live, how to breathe, how to think on my own, and most importantly, how to serve Christ. Serving God in any capacity for my whole life, whether that be if I do choose to be a teacher in the ministry or not a teacher in the ministry, whether I'm just a lay person in my church, whether I'm singing for church, whether I'm going on trips to serve people around, around the country at different camps, whatever it may be, I know that my life can be devoted to serving God. Prep prepared me for what I'm going to talk about next, Martin Luther College. Dorm life. I know how to live with other people now. It's crazy. It's an amazing thing. But it definitely makes a difference having that experience in high school and then moving on to college. Knowing how to live for Him. So because you're surrounded by God's Word so much at prep, you start to understand and gain a deeper appreciation and understanding for what it's like to actually live your life only for Jesus, not for the worldly pleasures around you, but rather because you know that that's what's best, and more importantly, because you want to share that love and that light and that excitement that you have for Jesus with all the people around you all the time. And then also working with others. You're going to work with others your entire life. You know, you're going to work with people, whether that's in a relationship with someone, or whether that's in your job, or whatever it is. Even if you have an at-home job because of COVID regulations or different things, you still have to Zoom people, and you still have to interact with others. So that working with others in close proximity, whether that's in a room or even in a classroom, was really, really important for me to learn. So my transition. It was really, really scary. I had no idea what I was doing. Actually so scary that last year we were driving out to Martin Luther College to Minnesota, and the night before orientation, I literally didn't sleep at all in the hotel, and I was freaking out the whole time because I turned to Mom and I said, you know, I don't think I'm doing the right thing. I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Why did we drive out here? I don't know what I'm doing. I was so scared, which is kind of funny because I had already been away from home for 4 years. I knew how to live in the dorms, and I knew how to walk to different classes. What more did I really need to know? I don't know. Well, and I also knew that God loved me, so there's really not anything more that I should have needed to know. But it was still scary because it was new. And I would say that I would bet that probably all of you guys have had that experience where change is hard. Change is really hard, and new experiences are sometimes really scary. Whether they're not actually that scary or not, they can feel scary. And so it was full of prayers. Like I said, I prayed in that hotel room night, like the whole night. I was so scared. But then I got up the next morning, and God blessed me because the very first person that I had seen at orientation happened to be a friend that I had from prep, and she welcomed me on MLC's campus with the biggest, brightest smile, and it made me feel like I was at home. And that is one of the things I love about Martin Luther College. I had a lot of faith and trust in God that He was leading me and guiding me to be in the place that I was supposed to be in, which is really scary when you put things in God's hands like that. But also, it's really rewarding. And it was full of friends and family and love and support. My friends and my family who were either with me or around the country, or people who were left here in Reno, even just the church's like support and prayers and thoughts. Those are what get you through those challenging times, which my transition was a challenge, but I quickly was able to do a lot of different things at MLC. So this list of things that I did this last year actually doesn't even cover everything that I did. I ran on the cross-country team, which was a huge blessing. My coach was incredible. She had us do gratitude journals. So after every practice, we got to gratitude, and we had to write 3 things that we just were so grateful for about the day. But the catch to this was, every single day, we had to have 3 different things, so we could never repeat the same thing. So as much as I wanted to put God on the top of my list every single day, I had to find other things I was grateful for. So sometimes that included, well, you know, I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for oxygen molecules. I don't know. Just sometimes you really have to think outside of the box. But it's crazy the things that we should be grateful for all the time because God has blessed us with them. But we don't even realize that they're there because sometimes they're right in front of us, but we just don't take the time to actually see it. I was involved in Forum. Forum is the theater department at Martin Luther College, and I never actually was on stage this year for various different reasons, but I worked behind the stage a lot. I had lots of opportunities to do like hair and makeup, and I ushered for all of the shows. I did busing for the children's theater performance. I mean, you name it, and I was doing it, basically. Backstage, helping with costume changes, whatever it was, costumes. So I had a fun time with that. Yeah, we'll get to the next part of that piece in a moment. I was a proxy for Student Senate. So a proxy is basically like a substitute. So all of the people on Student Senate, the senators, they can call in a proxy if they happen to miss a meeting. Well, I happen to get called into proxy quite a bit because I'm good at note-taking. And people liked that they didn't actually have to do a whole lot of work. Even the people in the meeting didn't have to do a whole lot of work because I did it for them and then sent them the notes. So I actually was at more Student Senate meetings than people who were on Student Senate, which also leads to something I'll be doing this next year. I studied a lot. I was really into my child development and human development classes, so I read like every single possible word of that textbook. So yeah, I did a lot of studying, but in the end, now I'm a lot smarter and better for it. So I prayed a lot. As everyone should. We should all be praying all the time because the Lord is here. He's with us, so why aren't we taking advantage of that? And why aren't we just talking to him? Even if it's just like on your walk to class, just have a little chitty chat with the Lord. He wants to hear what you have to say, you know? So I had chapel twice a day. It's not required. At prep, it is required that you go to both of them. But at Martin Luther College, because of work schedules or class schedules or all kinds of different things, it's not required that you go, but I did try to go to morning and night chapel as often as I possibly could, which, as I previously stated at Luther Prep, is also a blessing at MLC. We have Compline services every Monday. It's at 10 o'clock at night. So by the way, when I go to Compline, I'm usually exhausted because it's Monday at 10 o'clock at night, and you're going to this Compline service. However, this service is like a service you've never experienced before. The lights are dark and dim, and the preacher just has this really soft tone to his voice, and it's so like, you just feel like the Lord is speaking to you. He basically just reads something from the pulpit, like some sort of scripture, whatever the lesson is for the night. But there's no like sermon that goes with it. It's just the reading. And then you follow through a liturgy of all kinds of different songs. And they're really just, I don't know, soft and liturgical kind of, just really pretty, and it's like you're in prayer the whole time, and it's just the most terrific way to end the start of your week. So I love Compline, and I really pray that I get to go to a lot more of them this year. Concerts. So they actually provide a lot of different concerts on campus. Like, they bring in professional musicians, and then you pay like $5 to go to these concerts, and you go see these people. And they are just incredible. We also have concerts of people on campus. So whether that be the college choir concert, or the band Wind Symphony concert, or whatever it may be. So I actually did try to take advantage of all of those because we have some incredible musical talent on that campus. But also the concerts that I was involved in. So we have like a sacred Christmas concert and a sacred Easter concert. We sing for like Lent Vespers, all kinds of different things. And then at the end we have a commencement concert, which is super fun. I was involved in choir. I was in a 4-part chorale, which was awesome and super fun. Our director was just awesome and was able to relate to us in a lot of different ways. I coached a dance team at a local high school this year. I never thought I'd do that, but this is where we bring this in from prep. The dance team over there and the coach that I had over there was super inspirational and taught me so many things that I was able to go off and do my own dance team this year, which was absolutely terrifying, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I had to battle a lot of different hurdles, like every single day. There was another thing that came up, and I was like, really? Oh, Lord. But he got me through it, and I'm better for it now. I had to plan banquets and all kinds of things for this, so it taught me a lot of different skills, especially being an 18-year-old sending emails to the athletic director, your girls, and their parents. That's always interesting, because I feel like I'm the same age as some of the people I'm coaching, but I'm sending their parents emails. I don't know, it was a little weird, but I got through it, and it was great, and I learned. I participated in both of the talent shows this year. I choreographed my own dance pieces, and I danced, and I had a wonderful time. And yeah, it was great, and people enjoyed it, so that was good. I had a lot of different classes. I had a lot of gen ed classes this last year, and all kinds of, I don't know, just all kinds of different things that I never thought, I never thought I would do, but I did them, and I'm better for it now. I had meetings galore. We have meetings all the time, whether that's with your advisor or if it's just about the next upcoming, clinical experience or early field experience or, I don't know, the next tests, like licensure meeting or whatever it is. There's meetings all the time. But what's awesome is it always keeps you informed of all of the activities happening on campus. I had an experience called EFU1. And so I had to write a lesson plan, and I had to teach a science lesson for, I think it was 30 minutes, to 2 different sets of students. And the students came on campus that day, and we got to teach them. I got a little overboard. I went a little overboard. I was teaching science to first and second graders, but I decided to teach about displacement and density. So that was a little bit challenging, but actually it worked out pretty well, and they enjoyed it. I had a lot of floating balls in a bucket, and that kept them pretty entertained, so that was good. We have experiences at MLC called daylight experiences. So kind of what I talked about before with Project Timothy, it's kind of the same thing, but it's MLC's version of it. So this daylight experience is actually what I did. I don't know, some of you might know that I went to Alabama a couple weeks ago, and I taught a science camp there. And so that was a daylight experience. Again, you put in an application for it, and then they'll usually approve you, unless there's some major reason why they shouldn't. And then you go somewhere in the country, and actually it could even be in the world. There are some out to Spanish-speaking countries and different things as well. But you go out there and you do whatever it is that they request. So some people request like a soccer camp, or a drama camp, or VBS, or this time that I went, it was a science camp, which I learned a lot from. I had to write a lot of my own curriculum and lesson plans, and it was a little insane. I had K through 2, but I definitely had some people in there who had never set foot in a classroom before. And I also had kids in there who were reading chapter books. So I got all into the spectrum with 20 different kids, but it was a great learning experience. And then I would say that I love to encourage people at MLC, so I'm definitely the person that will just walk into the cafeteria and talk to every person I know and try to just build them up for the day, because let's just be real for a minute. College is hard. So, we all need to pick me up here and there. So that is what I did this last year, and I probably did a lot of other things that I don't even remember, but it was a great, great experience and a great year, which leads us to the growth in myself. I'm a lot more independent now, even more so than I was in high school. High school, it taught me to be independent in a lot of ways, but college taught me to be independent on a whole new level, even down to the fact that I have a car out at school. So, the day that a mouse gets into your engine and eats through your injector wire for cylinder 1, and then you have to go get it repaired, that's a growth moment, for sure. That's a growth moment. I had to be independent, and I actually had to take it to the car shop, and I was freaking out inside. But John is a very local, friendly car shop repairman. I highly recommend if you happen to be in New Ulm. He's great. Yeah. So if you have any problems in Minnesota, he's the guy to go to. Anyway, so a lot of independence. I had to be a lot more bold. To get what you want, sometimes you do have to go out of your way and you have to work for it. So that meant that I actually had to go out of my way and work for a lot of things that I wanted, or I had to communicate with people that I wouldn't have normally communicated with to find out answers that I needed, or all kinds of different things. So I definitely had to be more bold in that way. I have this insane love for communities now, just any kind of community. But I love the community of New Ulm, and I love getting out and going to the grade school plays and helping out with hair and makeup for them, or just even meeting all these older people at church. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to walk into church and know who you're talking to. It's the best thing ever. It's also super fun going to church with your professors and just all these people that you know. So getting to be involved in this community is super awesome. I love to be involved, which is why I involved myself in every possible activity that I possibly could at any point in time, because God gave me the opportunity and the gifts to do so, so why not? You're serving Him doing it, and you're helping others along the way. It's a win-win. I learned how to problem solve. Definitely a lot of issues, whether that would be in class, roommate situations, I would say I'm a fairly good roommate, but not everyone is, surprisingly. So, you got to problem solve through those things. And you got to really think outside of the box sometimes. But it's super fun to think outside of the box because you think of things that people may not have ever thought of before, or you're just bold enough to take the step and actually have the tenacity to go after the things that maybe haven't thought about, but no one's actually done. I'm a lot closer to Christ. I went through some ups and downs this year, if we're being completely honest, and I had a really good friend who ended up giving me a journal for Christmas, and to be honest, I have this weird thing where I'm like, well, if I have a journal, I have to have a very, very specific thing that I'm going to write in that journal, and only those things can be written in that journal. So I was saving this thing because I was like, well, I have to have it be the perfect thing. Anyway, I was having some unfortunate events happen probably at the beginning of my second semester. It was really, really bumpy getting back into school, and I was really struggling. And so I had this friend, she came up to me and she goes, Katie, where's that journal that I gave you? And I was like, oh, I have it right here. And she goes, well, why don't you just start journaling every day? And I was like, that's a great idea. So instead of just making it any old journal, I made it a prayer journal. So every entry has a date, and then it just says, Dear Lord, and I write out everything. All of my thoughts, all of my feelings. I just pour out my heart and my soul on this page, and it's a prayer to God. And then after I'm done writing it, I always go back and I read it out loud to God, and I feel so much closer to Him. I started doing more daily devotions because I realized that before you can truly love and serve and help others, you have to love and serve and take care of yourself. Because if you are not healthy, whether that be mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever it may be, if you're not healthy, then you can't help others in the best way that you possibly can. So I started all of these different things, and now I'm a lot closer to Christ, and I pray that I can continue on that path. And I would say that I'm a lot more helpful and do some crazy service things for all kinds of different people because I know how much help I can be for people, and it makes me happy to serve people in that way. So this next year, I will be running cross country once more, and I'll be on the same team with my coach and all my friends, so it'll be super fun. And yes, I will still be the slowest person on the face of the planet on the team, but that's okay because I will still be bubbly and happy and excited to be there. So that's okay. I am the assistant choreographer for the musical Hello, Dolly on campus this year, so I definitely have my work cut out for me. I keep getting a lot of emails about this, but I'm very excited, and it will definitely take me, I think, to another level, and if I happen to be able to coach again this year, I think it will help me to be even a stronger coach. Which makes me really excited. I did get voted on to being a senator for Student Senate, so woo woo! I will be serving the school in that way. I did see quite a few flaws last year when I was proxying for different meetings, and so I'm praying that through some of those things that I saw, I can help make a change and make communication on campus a little bit better and stronger so that more and more people, including underclassmen, have an opportunity to be involved in the events that people spend a lot of time and money and work on to put on for the school. I have a lot of methods courses this year, so I have a lot more of my teaching courses, particularly for early childhood. So I'm very excited. I will also have my early childhood clinical this next year, right after Christmas. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. It should be a hoot, that's for sure. And for sure, a lot of teaching. I'm at a school that is training me to be a teacher, so I'm going to have a lot of opportunities to do mini lessons and all kinds of different things throughout the year, which will just be awesome. So we're kind of coming to the end of my presentation here. I just want to encourage you guys for a life of service. I would say that so far, I'm doing my very best to have a life of service. However, we live in a sinful world, and I do have a sinful nature. And so sometimes I definitely am guilty of having things be really me-oriented. And I would say that we all probably struggle with that. And so I'm definitely guilty of that. But I am striving and working and praying to God that I will have more of a life of service. The importance of God and his word in our lives is so, unbelievably important. God is life. He created life. He created this world. He created you. He saw fit that the world needed one of you on it. So why don't you actually pray to him? Pray to the person who wanted you to be here. Pray to the person who wanted you to serve him. That is just, it leaves you speechless. It really does, because God is amazing. Let the Lord guide you. Pray to him. He will answer your prayers. I have figured that out myself this summer. I have been writing in my prayer journal for a long time about a lot of different things, and magically at the end of summer, it was like God started answering some of those prayers, and I went, oh my gosh, why did I ever doubt that you wouldn't answer them? So do talk to him. Please talk to him. Pray to him, because he's there. Say yes to him. Say yes to the things that he puts in your life, the opportunities and the experiences that he puts in your life. He puts them there, and he gives you all of the gifts and the abilities to do those things. So say yes to it. Don't back away. Don't be shy. He gave it to you. It's a blessing. Do it. Live it. Be it. Have fun with it. It's great. Have a good attitude. Attitude is everything in life. If you don't have a good attitude, a lot of things are going to go really poorly, and they're going to continue to go poorly until you turn that attitude around. Just saying. If you have a positive attitude, it can help a lot. Attitude, I firmly believe that attitude can heal you. Truly. If you have a good attitude and you start praying and you start living your life for God, amazing things can happen to you. And it can be such a blessing when you realize it. Sometimes you don't realize it in the moment, but you reflect back on it and you go, wow, God, you are incredible. Have a servant's heart. That means that you serve because you love your God. You love the God who saw fit to put you on this earth. So therefore, you serve because you know that there's no better thing in life than just serving him, whether that be in your congregation, providing food, or praying for someone. Even praying for someone is having a servant's heart. If you know someone is struggling and you pray for them, you are serving them, and you are making God really happy. You're making him smile because he knows that you're talking to him. And loving God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength, all the time. So I challenge each and every one of you to go out and to live your life like this, to live your life for God, and to keep him with you always, to keep him in your heart always, to say yes to him, to love him, to serve him, because he did the ultimate thing for you. He died for you. So therefore, the least that we can do is pray to him. The least that we can do is love him. The least that we can do is try to serve him. Even though we're going to have our shortcomings, we're going to fall, and we're going to sin. But he's there for us. And that is such a blessing. So, this is kind of my thing. Whenever I do anything on campus, whether that be cross-country or dance team or whatever it is, even in high school, this is my thing. I always yell right before whatever it is, and I always say, all to the glory of God. It's like my thing. So this verse, 1 Corinthians 10:31, is what I want to leave you with. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Please, because the Lord is good, and he will bless you. You will get out of it what you put into it. So if you put a lot into God, he's going to bless you in ways that you never thought were possible. So, as a congregation standing in front of me, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your prayers and for your support and your thoughts and your encouragement. Whether that's just sitting in church and saying a prayer for me, whether that's sending me a package, or whether that's maybe putting some sort of donation into the budget, the church budget, because there is a congregational grant matching program through Martin Luther College, and that does benefit me and help me a lot. So thank you for all of those things. I always get so excited when I get a package. that I always take a picture of whatever my package is from whenever it is. I think this one was from high school, but I always get so excited to receive mail and so excited to know that people are thinking of me. So I just want to turn it back and thank you guys for doing those things for me. All right, so now I'm going to just open it up. It's a question and answer session. We got roughly 10-ish minutes. So you guys ask me whatever you want to ask, and I will do my best to answer it. So opening it up to you guys.
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah.
You are a beautiful example of the success of Martin Luther Prep. Question, does anyone ever graduate as an introvert? And how many actually go on to college?
Yeah, okay. So, yes, people definitely graduate as introverts. I do actually have some friends who are very introverted people. And I think a lot of your experiences, what you put yourself in, the activities that you do, those things are what help kind of shape you. So I put myself out there. I put myself in cross country. I tried out for all of the theater things. I tried out for choirs. I went out and did those things. Even though I was a really introverted person, I wanted to meet people because I didn't have anyone. So I went out there and I tried those things, and because I tried those things, I happened to really grow a lot in a lot of different ways. And sometimes I think that God always had me be an extroverted person. He just didn't let me see it until high school. Yeah, but some people kind of just sit in their room all day or read or listen to music or watch TV or do kinds of different things. So if you're introverted like that and you're kind of doing activities like that, it's not a bad thing. That's just your personality. That's what you want. But then, yeah, they would graduate more of an introvert because they didn't really put themselves out there to go and do those things. And that's totally okay, too. God loves introverts, extroverts, and everyone in between. So that's good. And as far as you said how many people go on to college, are you talking about to Martin Luther College or just college in general? Okay, I think it does vary from class to class, but my graduating class, I would say that about half of us all went on to Martin Luther College after Luther Prep. So, yeah, pretty good numbers. Yeah, so all of the chapel services at both Luther Prep and Martin Luther College are live streamed through different platforms. So honestly, don't talk to me because I don't really know how to get on it. Talk to Mom if you are wondering about that. But yes, they all are live streamed, which is such a blessing for people who are far away because there are a lot of really great professors that preach and a lot of great just different things that people put on. And also, actually, yeah, I can't remember which school is which, but on certain days of the week, choirs always like sing for those services and stuff. So if you're interested in like hearing different choirs at both of the schools, lots of different people are singing all the time throughout the week. So, or playing instruments or whatever it may be. So, yeah.
Concerts are live streamed at both schools.
Yes.
If you ever want to hear some fantastic choir music or instrumental music, I highly recommend listening to their streams. Both schools have amazing music programs.
Yes, we do have lots of incredible music programs, and those concerts, we have sacred concerts, and we also have like pretty worldly concerts, secular concerts. Those are usually our commencement concerts, but we do sing a lot of really fun songs that you would probably know, so you'd be like kind of singing along. But we do also have our sacred concerts, usually around Christmas and Easter, and those are always really fun and really beautiful. So, yeah. Questions? Anything else? Any wonder? Yeah, Steph. Wait 1 second. Steph. For which school or both? Oh, okay, so MLC, So that's a little bit tricky to know exactly how many people are on campus because we have student teachers. So people go off of campus for student teaching, but they're still technically enrolled in the school. I would say right now we have about 700 undergrads, and probably, I don't actually know the number for graduate schooling. But yeah, I would say anywhere between like 700 and 1,000. Off and on. We have people kind of transferring out and in kind of all the time. That's a pretty frequent thing, so yeah. Oh, yeah, yes. So through Martin Luther College, they actually have a study abroad program. So I'm very excited. In a couple of years, I'll be studying abroad in Limerick, Ireland. So I'm very excited to do that. Also terrified to go live in another country, but super excited. And talking about those lifelong friends that we have, one of my friends from high school, we're going to be going over to Ireland together. So she's also at MLC right now, so we're going to go over there and we can take like up to like 4 classes or something like that. But I'm really excited because there's one that's like intro to Irish music and dance or something like that. So I'm super excited to take things like that. It'll be my 4th year, so 3 years, yeah, so fall of 2025. So a little ways out, but I'm really excited about it. So yeah, lots of opportunities. You just kind of have to know and look for them and actually like I said, you have to kind of be bold sometimes and like ask questions and not be afraid to email random people and just, ask random things because you were wondering. That's kind of how that happened. I emailed a random person and was like, hey, can I know about study abroad programs? And then my advisor was like, yeah, I know nothing about study abroad programs. Go talk to this person. So that I emailed her and I was like, hey, do you mind if I just come in and have a little chitty chat with you? And then she was like, yeah. So I came inside and we talked. And then by the end of that, I was like, oh, great. Let's totally do this. Let's totally study abroad. It'll be great. So yeah, that's how that happened. But yeah, Grandpa. Yeah, so that's a little bit harder for me to really super elaborate on right now because this last year I only did have, I think, 2 or 3 methods courses. So I got a little bit of knowledge regarding that kind of thing, but I think this year I'll have a much better understanding of what we're learning in the classroom and how it translates to real life. However, this summer, I did do a lot of random teaching, whether it was volunteering or my daylight trip or soccer camp or whatever it was. So I did gain a lot of experience with, actually a lot of really little kids, because I am an early childhood elementary double major. So I did gain a lot of experience with little kids. And I would say that some of my psychology classes, I was able to kind of transfer some of the information I did learn in those classes and kind of go, oh, I'm seeing it in real life now. That's kind of really cool because in the classroom, there's only so many videos of a little child playing on the playground that your teacher can show you. So, that was really cool. Yeah, and I guess I did teach some art lessons at the beginning of summer, and I had just taken my teaching art in elementary class, so it was kind of fun to go straight from that class to just creating a lesson plan and then just going for it, but I definitely kind of got fed to the dogs on that one. I did not know what I was doing, but I learned a lot from it. I kind of had to pinch hit and just wing it, which I feel honestly that's kind of a lot of teaching because you never know what's going to happen in that classroom. Things change momentarily all the time, and you never know what's going to come out of a child's mouth. So it makes the job really entertaining. So, yeah. Yeah. Grandpa, you had a question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
A question that you will not be able to answer.
Oh.
How can Grandpa and Granny and me be so very, very lucky to have you for granted?
Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. But I do have an answer, actually. You can thank the Lord for that one. Yeah. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns? Tell me how to do better the next time I might give a presentation like this. Yes, please tell me how to do better.
Work with teenage students because you're a good motivational speaker.
Thank you.
Speaking to groups of young people would be really helpful. Do you ever do anything like that?
Thank you, actually, for that wonderful compliment. I would actually love to do things like that. I would say that this is probably my first, fuller platform of doing something like that. But on smaller levels, the dance team that I coached, it was a high school dance team, so I definitely had some girls, I don't think any of them were 13, but I had some freshmen who were 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Some of them were literally my age. And I would say within my team, I really try to keep it a really positive, supportive environment. I don't know if you guys know this, but the dance community can be pretty harsh. The performing community can be pretty harsh. Just in general, there's a lot of expectations. It's a lot about, do you look a certain way, or can you do certain things? And I personally, in my team environment, I really try to leave all of that out there, and I really just try to build people up and just say, hey, this isn't going to be perfect, but life isn't perfect. The only thing that's perfect is Jesus. So we're just going to go for this, and we're going to do the best that we can, and we're going to serve our Lord doing it. We had lots of challenging things that we had to hurdle over, and we did it because the Lord blessed us and got us through it, but there was a lot of tears. Yeah, and praying. But I would say within my unit, my 7 girls that I was coaching, I did my best to be as motivational as I can. And then on that note, not necessarily on a speaking level, but I do have a lot of different little girls that I write letters to around the country, actually. And I try to motivate people through my writing of letters. So if you guys have anyone that wants to be motivated by letters, I'd happily write letters. I love receiving mail. It's fantabulous. So, yeah. I actually just added four or five new girls to my list this summer. So I can't, because of addresses changing, back and forth from school, it's a little bit tricky. But when I get back to school, then I can start them up again. So, yeah, I'll definitely have quite a few people that I'll get to encourage, which always makes me happy. And I get to encourage the people on campus, like my cross-country team, because I can't really run very well. So my next best thing is encouraging them. So, yeah. Anything else?
Encourages them to write back to her so they end up pen pals.
Oh, yeah, so my letters, it's a pen pal thing. So, oh yeah, I write so that I can be written too. I like receiving mail. But also, I have been pen paling with this one girl. She lives in Kansas. And I don't know, I've probably been pen paling with her for 3-4 years, maybe more. And it's so fascinating and so cool. I've just watched how every single one of her letters to me has just improved and how she's grown as a person. And she must be in high school now, sophomore? Freshman? She's going into high school? Okay, so she's going into high school, and actually one of the letters that she just wrote to me that I received, it almost made me cry because her writing is just exponentially better than it was 4 years ago when I started this with her. It used to be the one sentence of, "Hope you're doing well, life is good here," from her name. Kind of a thing. And so now, the last letter that I received, it was a whole card, paragraph of everything that's going on in her life, what she was excited about over summer, and asking me about all the things that I'm doing because she remembered from the last letter. So it's just a really neat thing, and I think it's really a wonderful way to get kids off of technology and working on handwriting skills, working on just writing skills, grammar, spelling, whatever it is. I don't care. I'm not judgmental. I'm not an English teacher. I'm not going to criticize their work, but just having the experience of writing it and having to get off technology to do it, having to think for yourself to write those words down, and then learning how to send mail. I don't know if kids these days know how to do that, but it's probably a little important. So learning how to send mail and then also practicing the patience of waiting for that mail to come back and forth. And then the relationship that you build with those kids is just, it's awesome. It's so cool. So, yeah, my letter writing. Anyway, my little rant. Anything else? Yeah. That's funny. I really don't have any downtime, and I totally do that to myself. I know that I do that to myself, but honestly, my cup is so full when I'm serving other people and I'm serving God that, I don't know, downtime kind of is just like the thing in the back seat, you know what I mean? I don't know. Some weekends, I have friends who literally look at me and go, Katie, no, you're not doing homework on Friday night. You're going to sit down and you're going to watch this movie with me because you need it. So I do have friends who try to keep me in check like that, which I'm very grateful for, because if I don't have friends like that, I would be the person that would never sleep. But I luckily have lovely friends who tell me, Caitlin Nicole Gilkey, that is ridiculous. Get your life together and sleep. So, yeah, I do sleep occasionally. Or try to, at least. But, yeah. Yeah.
5 years, except for when she was on Project Timothy and wasn't allowed to call.
Yes, so I will touch on that a little bit. A lot of times, no one has asked yet here, but I do get the question a lot, like, you're close with your family, like, so how does that work? Like, wouldn't you be not close with them because you're far away? I would actually venture to say, I 100% fully believe that I'm closer with my family because I'm farther away. And the reason why is because the time that I do get to spend with them, I don't take it for granted. I love the time that I get to spend with my family because it's so infrequent. And also, I call every single day just to check in on people, see how they're doing, make sure everyone had a good day, or build them up if they had a bad day, and vice versa. There's a lot of times when I cry on the phone to home, and then I get built up, and then it's great. Because I do a lot of building up of others, but like we all know, there's only so much of yourself that you can give, and sometimes you're the one who needs to be built up. So a lot of times that's via the phone. But yeah, I would say I'm closer with my family. If I was still here, I'd be doing a lot of dancing, and I love dance, but it doesn't mean that you're really at home I'm not really at home if I'm dancing and stuff. So, yep, I'm out of time. So we shall end with our prayer. Yes, all right. Ready? Let's fold our hands. Dear Lord, thank you so much for granting us this opportunity today to be here and to serve you and to talk to you and to just be encouraged and built up and lifted up by you and your word. And we ask that you please bless all of our weeks so that we can go out and we can say yes to you in all we do. Amen.
Officially want to say thank you to Katie for the presentation you gave today, and continue to pray for you and do what we can to support. If you would like to send Katie a package or an encouraging letter, I'm happy to give you the address. It's 1995
Yes.
They'll never cheat.
Yes.
So you can send her letters or encouragement. We also do have a grant fund that she mentioned that we give, but if you have other financial gifts you'd like to give to her, you can talk to myself.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. Have a blessed day, week.